I'm going to sue you. I'll sue you. Screw it, sue me if you want to. Lawsuits aren't fun. It's a terrible experience. There are alternatives and you don't have to end up in a lawsuit. Let's talk about that. So, alternatives to lawsuits. There are many, and they all fall under the umbrella banner of ADR, or Alternative Dispute Resolution. These are methods of resolving disputes that are an alternative to traditional lawsuits. Primarily for today, we're going to focus on the two most common methods of ADR, that being mediation and arbitration. Now, most people have heard these terms in some form and in some context. In the legal community, a mediation is when you have a third party who is mediating a discussion, but they are not actually solving the solution. It's just having someone else facilitate the conversation. If the two parties can't actually talk to each other, this mediator helps them talk to each other. On the flip side, an arbitration is when the third party acts as essentially the judge. They're going to decide the results of the dispute. They're going to come up with a resolution that the parties are bound to. So the differences primarily are whether the parties are deciding what their solution is with the help of a third party, or whether the third party is the one deciding what the resolution is going to be. The most common instances where a mediation is used and even recommended by the legal system or the court system, sometimes and in some states demanded, is for things like divorces and family law disagreements. If there's a child custody battle, if there is a nasty divorce and they're having fights over certain property or assets to be divided, many states will, as a requirement, say, try to settle this in mediation before we have this fight in court. Because it saves time in the court system, it also saves a cost. Because if you are able to solve the dispute amongst yourselves and bring your proposed solution to the divorce court, then they don't have to go through the process of fighting about it in the court system, dealing with the judge and all of that. So mediation is used in more than just divorce and family law cases, but that is the primary use. On the flip side, arbitration is primarily used in the commercial practices. So businesses who have dealings with each other and have some dispute about a breach or something that they were supposed to do, often those will be resolved in arbitration. The three requirements for an arbitration to be valid is that it be a voluntary choice by the parties to go to arbitration because they are giving up their right to go to court. The second is that there is a private judge or adjudicator, which can come in many forms in the arbitration system, and I will circle back to that. And the third is a binding decision or resolution based on that private judge's ruling. So circling back to the private judge, in arbitration, you have a variety of options. Most known is a single arbitrator who is a full neutral third party, has no bias towards either side of the dispute. That is the most known, but it is not actually the most common in practice. The most common in practice is 3 adjudicators. Either all 3 would be neutral parties to both sides of the conflict, or in many cases, there will be one adjudicator that is intentionally biased towards each side, and then 1/3 adjudicator to go between the two sides who is fully neutral. For instance, one of the most common uses of arbitration in practice that is not regulated by the legal system would be when a parent is arbitrating a dispute between 2 of their kids. Even though people don't view this as alternative dispute resolution, it is. If the 2 kids come to the parent and are saying, "My sister bit me and my brother punched me," the parent is going to listen to each side of the story and determine who shall have any sort of punishment that is to be handed out. They resolve the dispute between their 2 kids. So even though the parent is not a neutral party, because they are the parent of their kids, they love their kids, presumably. They want the best for each of their kids. They're not neutral in this fight. But because each of the kids know this is their parent and this is a relation that they have, it's a fine arbitration to be held. That story, which is generally something that happens unofficially in households across the world, that can actually be done in an official legal arbitration. You can have a parent be the neutral arbitrator over a dispute between two siblings who have different companies and they had a breach of contract and they are fighting each other. That kind of arbitration is permissible in the arbitration world because they've agreed to it. Now, if the arbitrator is themselves a party, they can't participate. So if the business partner of one of the parties is proposed as a potential arbitrator, and the dispute is about the business breaching a contract, more than likely they're too close to the actual conflict itself to even be waived then. Going back to our mediation example, that is also a distinction for mediators. Mediators have to be more neutral parties than arbitrators are allowed to be. Because the parties have some significant voluntary choice in who their arbitrators are and how they are picked, they can have more room to say, I understand there's this bias, I'm okay with it anyways. Whereas in mediation, they have to be more of a third-party neutral with no bias to either side. So, when do you need ADR? Alternative dispute resolution is available in a variety of circumstances, and most people use ADR way more than they realize. If you are having an issue with a coworker and you go to HR and you have a discussion between HR and the other coworker, that is a form of ADR. That is resolving the dispute without ending in a lawsuit. You have the ability to choose how you want to resolve disputes in your life. You can have a fully private dispute resolution that happens between the parties with a neutral party, the same as it would with a judge, and you get to decide what the terms of that resolution can be. Pick the one that's right for you. Our firm is taking on new clients. If you want to work with us, the best way to get on our waitlist is to click the link below. If you want to learn more about how law can be used to protect your family and wealth, subscribe to our channel or visit our website to learn more. We welcome your thoughts. In order to help us improve future videos, please leave your comments below. We look forward to hearing from you.